Yeah, what's the deal? What's the deal? How you feel? What's the deal? Where you at?
So y'all here? Y'all like inspiration? Y'all like motivation?
Denise Camille?
Y'all like ventilation?
Denise Camille?
Y'all know I gotta make up a few words here and there, but who y'all here with?
Ventilation and Denise Camille.
Under the act. But we not playing no game.
We're not into games. We don't like Sega, PlayStation, or Xbox.
So y'all here with Dilate the Dialogue with Denise Camille.
Dilate the dialogue.
We gotta open up, not them legs, but the mind.
Denise Camille.
Cause I know y'all trying to find y'all strength.
Denise Camille.
Intertwined with the life of me.
Denise Camille.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome. We back with another episode of Dilate to Dialogue with yours truly, Denise Camille, Goddess of Spirits, made into the native. Let me get that correct. Goddess of Spirits, made into the native. I am Denise Camille. How can I help you heal? With today's episode, today's topic, it might be a heavy one for some, might be a light one for others. Today's topic is, let me make sure I get this right now. Guilt weighs heavier on the heart than grief. I'm going to say it one more time because I said it correct. Guilt weighs heavier on the heart than grief. Now, this topic came to me, this quote, I should say, came to me a couple years ago when, I can't get too specific, but I'm going to say a family member transitioned, and those that were still here in this realm felt some kind of way in regards to this individual no longer being on the physical realm because they transitioned. Yet, we don't realize as people that guilt is a true and real emotion, and so is grief, right? So let me go a little bit of vocabulary or just breaking down the words, right? They both are G-U-I-L-T, G-R-I-E-F. Both are 5-letter words. Both are powerful words. One is more on an ill-intentioned logic, and the other is more of an unintentional or unconscious emotion. I'm going to say that again. One is an ill-intentioned logic. The other is an unconscious or subconscious emotion, right? So because guilt is an ill-intentioned logic. And I say ill-intentioned because guilt falls into the line of fear. Anything outside of love is fear. Fear blocks love, right? If it's not love, it's a fear. So a fear tactic, more than likely, is guilt. Meaning there were things that you knew you could have handled different in different events and different experiences. And there are things that you were holding grudges, another G word, grudges against another human being because of your perspective or lack of perspective on why they were seasoned in your life. Now, I know we just jumped in like, damn, we only 4 minutes in, but you just, I like to get into the root, so let's get to this. Today's topic, again, I'm going to say it again. Guilt weighs heavier on the heart than grief. So, and I guess I could say all of my topics tend to hit you where people say it may hurt, yet I'll say it touches you where it can heal you. Because a lot of times you don't realize that because it's coming from a place of fear, our perspective or perception of the lesson we cannot see the blessing. Because if it's not a blessing, it's a lesson. Yet that guilt is now a lesson that you can actually feel. It turns into an emotion, no longer an ill-intentioned logic. It becomes an emotion because you feel that on the inside. Guilt is a real thing. Guilt is what can turn your thoughts into dis-ease. Guilt is similar to resentment. It's similar to grudges. It's similar to almost jealousy. Yet it's in the same lines of fear, because again, anything outside of love blocks fear, blocks love, right? Anything outside of love is fear. So guilt weighs heavier on the heart than grief. When you grieve someone, most times in true grief, you're not even controlling the grief. The grief controls you, right? The grief can just come up out of nowhere. And you're like, for me, I don't cry. I just sweat through my eyes, right? Why am I sweating through my eyes on a nonchalant day? I wasn't even in the zone to do any grieving today. I was like, no, not today. Yet for me, my personal story, for those that do know, it's been 20 years since my oldest brother was murdered, right? And in the same token, my oldest younger brother, I'm the baby, so he's the two above me. He's been incarcerated since that same day. So there's grief all across the board, right? Yet with the one who transitioned after, having the funeral and still having to go back to living, grief will kick up on different times, different years, different days. There's never one particular like, oh my God, I'm gonna cry more today. Yet the days that grief kicks into overdrive, you never know when it's coming, right? And it's that emotion of the memories of, man, like, you're gone. I have memories. Yet that stage in my life, I wasn't fully aware of how important building memories and cherishing those memories with those you love, how detrimental they could be if you don't store them in that box properly. And I mean the memory box. We as people, we have compartments in our brain, right? We have a lot of memories that are stored. So when grief kicks in, those emotions go into overdrive, and most times you can't stop it. Yet, for me, having the experiences of knowing that, okay, this might trigger a grief, and it'll bring up those same thoughts, I've been able to make my environment cautious, so that way I do not place myself in those types of environments. For example, I choose not to go to funerals because I know I may not be crying for the individual in the casket. I may be still grieving over my brother. And it's been 20 years. So it's having to understand, there have been other funerals I've attended, of course, yet some more than others, I'm crying for that individual because of the different moments and memories I've created with that individual. Having to understand that for those that have not had my experiences, grief kicks in at any point in time. It could be surrounding your mindset constantly every other day or every day, every fourth Wednesday. It comes, right? It comes. It's not always in a pattern, yet it's in its own cyclical pattern of grief, because that's the emotion. That's the subconscious holding on to those moments and those memories of time, right? And to be grateful to have had those memories with that individual. So when I go back to the thought of saying that grief weighs heavier on the heart than guilt weighs heavier on the heart than grief, I say that to say, for those who did not appreciate the exchange of energy while that individual was in your realm or in your space of time, for whatever reason, you were holding on to, or I didn't like how you treated me, you should have, right? And you didn't forgive that other individual, or you didn't take the time to appreciate that person's energy while they were around you. And that could be family, that could be friends, that could be anyone who didn't rectify their heart, their own heart, before this individual transitioned to the other realm. Those are the ones that have the most guilt when it comes time to have a celebration of life for someone. Those are the ones who find themselves in a place of, why am I feeling like this? Let me do more than everybody else since they're gone, right? They're in that concept of, no, let me fix this because I don't want to hold this on my heart, because that's guilt. Now you want to, oh no, you're like, what is it? The duck, the chicken, and I think it's the fox in the book, the little red hen. When she needed help to help, run the wheat through the mill, they're like, I'm not helping. She needed help to, knead the dough. No, I'm not helping. She needed help to pull the wheat. No, I'm not helping. But then when it come time to eat the bread, oh, I'm going to help you eat the bread. And she's like, no, you go watch me eat the bread because you didn't help me run through the mill. You helped me pull the wheat. You helped me knead the dough. That's a different kind of concept. The same analogy of saying, when I needed you and you chose not to help me for whatever your personal reasons were, now that I'm gone, you want to be the first in line to support, to engage, to nurture, and to communicate to others as if you and that person was best of friends, yet you didn't treat them as if they deserved friendship from you. We're going to hold that thought and take a break. We're going to come back for the second half of today's topic with Dilate to Dialogue, Denise Camille. Guilt weighs heavier on the heart than grief. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. We back. Welcome back for the second half. It's a bit personal today. I know that some people are either appreciating this topic or it's hitting them where they need to address some healing. I am Denise Camille, Dilate to Dialogue, spiritual midwife, spiritual counselor. I consider myself a mental midwife. Let's look at the constipation of the mind opposed to constipation of the body. Let's see what's really necessary to detox in those minds. So today's topic, before I get into today's topic, let me just acknowledge the shirt and first what happens to be acknowledged. This is a part of my quote clothing line. Acknowledge the child in you. And that's pretty simple. Yet a lot of times we don't really take the time to acknowledge the child in us. We're too busy playing adults, not realizing at one point we were a child. We had the innocence. We had the love, the nurturing in our eyes and in our heart to want to suck up and learn from everything and those around us. Because that's what children do. They learn. They're learning. We don't ever stop learning as adults. No one's grown. We're all growing, right? So acknowledge a child in you. I'm going to start with my different t-shirts just to be able to, get the word out there. Spread it. If you're not, able to support, pass on to somebody else who can. Donate. Everything, I'll put the link down the bottom below. Check it out on Linktree, on Instagram that I'm there, or Facebook, any of the other social platforms, right? Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, yeah. And I'll be on Patreon shortly.